This is the legend of PikVille Heavy Industries, the ongoing record of a company that refuses to stay in one timeline. I'm Pickfire, and Cuppertine's brought me another stack of files I don't remember creating. The desert's humming again, the archives are shifting, and PHI is ready to show us something new. Let's get into it. Last time on the legend of PikVille Heavy Industries, Cuppertine walked me through a stack of archival ads from Tempe Dead Language Translation Services. All of them voiced by me, all of them for campaigns I don't remember recording. We heard spots from different decades, different stations, even different timelines. Each one ending in a dead language I apparently spoke fluently at some point. And by the time the last tape clicked off, it was clear that PHI wasn't just showing me old work, it was showing me versions of myself I didn't know existed. Episode 7, The UNCLEAR Reactor. I've been putting this off longer than I should have. Every time I tried to sit down and explain the UNCLEAR Reactor, something shifted. A date, a detail, a memory I was sure I had right until it wasn't. And I'd close the binder, tell myself the story could wait, and move on to something easier. But Episode 7 doesn't leave me anywhere else to go. The binder's here in front of me, it's heavier than it looks, and warm in a way that probably isn't symbolic, but still feels like a warning. Either way, it's time. I'm going to tell the legend of PikVille Heavy Industries honestly. I can't skip the part where PHI built something powerful, strange, and depending on who you ask, either visionary or mildly alarming. The reactor has been sitting in the background of this story since the beginning, silent as a stone, impossible to ignore, and no, it doesn't hum. It doesn't make any sound at all. The only noise anyone ever hears around it is that strange burst of 1970s yacht rock that shows up on the chrono subs and in the room on the cruise ship that used to be the captain's quarters and is now the sauna. Why the defense subs never get the music is a mystery I'm not qualified to solve. So this is the episode where I finally lay it out. What PHI built, what the government lost, what the paperwork says, what it doesn't say, and why the whole thing still glows a shade of green no one can agree on. Let's just sink right into it. We've already talked about Russ, he of the self-addressed stamped envelope, the man who sent a whole $1 off to the back of the Sporting News to get the official rules for fantasy football. What he didn't know, what none of us knew, was that he was about to create the backbone of an algorithm that would eventually tie directly to the UNCLEAR Reactor. In fact, this is the first he's hearing of it. Hi, Russ. Check's in the mail. Now, here's the thing. Russ and I weren't kids. We were two Tempe guys in our 20s. Well, I was a Tempe guy, and Russ was a Seattle transplant who got absorbed into the Tempe ecosystem the way people do when they show up at the right time with the right energy. And while I've never been a math head, Russ absolutely was. Still is. The man thinks in numbers the way the rest of us think in sentences. So how do you get a math head to do math head things without letting him know why in the hell he's doing them? Turns out it wasn't that hard. Mostly because I didn't know why in the hell I was doing it either. I only knew it had to be done, and that when it was really done, I'd know it. And I did. The night Flipper Anderson put up 340 receiving yards, something in my brain clicked into place. Like a gear that'd been waiting years for the right moment. Do I know why? No. Do I know how? Absolutely not. But I knew. Now I can't and won't tell you our scoring system. Not because I'm being dramatic, but because it would be a huge problem if someone ever reverse engineered the UNCLEAR reactor from it. And trust me, if you saw the math, you'd understand how that could happen. What I can tell you is that scoring that league every week was a fiasco. A full-scale 10-hour brain-melting ordeal. My Texas Instruments calculator was pushed to its technological limits. I'm pretty sure I saw smoke once. Or maybe that was just me overheating. Hard to say. Before we get to the official PHI explanation, I should probably tell you how we got the binder back. Because it didn't just wander home, and it didn't show up in the desert like some of the other things in this story. No, this one took work. Real work. After a lot of false leads and more than a few embarrassing phone calls, we finally got a tip from someone who didn't understand what they were holding, just that it looked important and kind of warm. And sure enough, the trail led straight to Florida. The binder was being auctioned off in a ballroom, a literal ballroom. So we sent someone from sales. Not legal, not security, sales. Because if you need someone who can keep a straight face while bidding on something they absolutely should not be bidding on, you send sales. And according to the report, the bidding got spirited. Our guy ended up in a three-way showdown with a Cuban gentleman in a linen suit and an obvious Russian agent who wasn't even trying to blend in. And somehow, through charm, determination, and the company credit card, we outbid them both. $14 plus the buyer's fee. That's what it cost to recover some of the most important paperwork in the world. $14. I spent more than that on lunch. All right, so let's get down to it here. We built it. We own it. They lost it. PHI invented the UNCLEAR reactor. PHI builds the UNCLEAR reactor. PHI licenses the UNCLEAR reactor to its subsidiaries, including SRR GCLI. PHI maintains all engineering, safety, and operational standards. PHI never mishandled any documentation. PHI never violated any classification rules. PHI never asked for federal involvement in the first place. PHI is, and always has been, the sole legitimate authority on the reactor. Now, the federal situation. The reactor was classified at a high level in Washington, D.C. That part is true. But then someone big made a mistake. The classification file left D.C. under circumstances no one will explain. The file ended up in Florida's Golden Ballroom, and the binder was misplaced during a banquet. It vanished into a lost and found bin, and it was auctioned off for $14. Our buyer described it as warm. As a result, the federal government cannot prove the reactor is classified. They know it was classified. They know they lost the paperwork. They know PHI didn't lose anything. They know the reactor exists. They know it works. They know it glows. But without the classification order, they cannot enforce anything. PHI's legal position is unassailable. Because the government cannot produce the classification order, the classification level, the agency of origin, the chain of custody, or the authorization signatures, PHI is under no enforceable restrictions. Therefore, PHI is free to deploy the UNCLEAR reactor in any subsidiary venture, including, but not limited to, SRR GCLI, luxury river vessels, chronosubs, municipal power augmentation, experimental platforms, vending machines, and anything else that needs a little temporal encouragement. The federal response is now, the reactor remains classified. The documentation is temporarily unavailable. The matter is under review. No further questions. PHI's public statement is shorter, cleaner, more honest. We invented it, we build it, we license it, we operate it, we lost nothing. It's green. Whew. That's the UNCLEAR reactor. The invention PHI built, the government misplaced, and the binder we bought back for $14 and a buyer's fee. I've closed the file, but the room doesn't feel any quieter. The desert's humming again, and the stack of folders Cuppertine left for me is starting to shift like it's waiting its turn. We'll stop here before anything else moves. Episode 8 opens the next file. Stay heavy, man.